So for this final project, I would like to touch upon a topic that has been discussed a lot in this class and also through generations, which is Islam women and the role in Muslim society. I want to approach this by basing everything on stereotypes, like common stereotypes, but more specifically in Latin America. As most of you might know, Latin America has very high rates of Christianity affiliation. The rates can vary between 60 to 98% in all of the countries, and other religions such as Islam can be as low as 1.8% or even lower. I'm gonna be interviewing some of my friends from Latin America and see what are their perspectives and beliefs towards this topic and kind of understand where these stereotypes might come from.
I think it's hard to have one opinion about a religion that embarks so many different cultures. I have, I think, the same opinion I have of most other religions, or if not all, that it has views I agree with, it has views that I find antiquated. But as I said, I think that is something that is not unique to Islam, but it's something that I think is present in all in all religions. And yes, as I said before, I think that people have this tendency to associate the Islam religion with a specific culture when in fact it spans many different countries and many different cultures.
People portray them as kind of extreme people, like extreme beliefs and stuff like that. But honestly, I have never been in contact with Muslims.
I admire a lot their devotion towards their religion. I know that they have fallen victims of negative stereotypes around the world due to what's been going on for the past 30 years or so in the Middle East. But I know that these stereotypes don't define Muslim individuals.
I know that they are very reserved, so they really cover their faces, and you can only see their eyes usually when they're in their country. That's what I understand. But I know that they're very reserved, and they cannot dress how they want to. So
Islam women are women that are really attached to their religious beliefs. They're very, very faithful to their Muslim roots. And also, I think they care a lot about how they show themselves to the world, meaning the way they dress, the way they deliver their actions.
When I think of Muslim women, the image that immediately comes to mind is a hijab, and the concept that women are taught to be caretakers and nurturers. And although I do not know the exact biblical teachings of women in the Quran, I know that I think that they are very restricted in authority. And this part I just mentioned is very different to the way of life that I want to live. So it is hard for me to imagine myself living like a Muslim woman. But I have nothing but respect for them and do not judge them for following their religion in any way.
From what is understood, or what people think about mostly, or at least non-Muslims, it's an understanding that Islamic women are oppressed or subjugated. And as I said, I cannot say for sure because I'm not Muslim. I don't understand the culture, the religion. But I do think that religion has been an excuse to subjugate women, both in Muslim religion and in other religions as well. But I think it is very prevalent.
I haven't had much contact with Muslims in my life.
Most of my opinions regarding the Muslim culture and the Muslim religion come from things that I've read from the internet or things that I've seen in the news. However, I did take one class in senior year of high school where I had to compare the teachings from the Bible and the teachings from the Quran. And I know that the Quran has been widely misinterpreted by extremist groups in the Middle East. And these groups are the ones that have provided Muslims with negative stereotypes around the world.
do not know specifically a lot about Muslim teachings, but I am currently reading Guantanamo Diary by Muhammad Oslahi, and the book talks about the inhumane torture methods illegal in the U.S. Constitution that the U.S. has employed against Muslims in attempt to gain intel for the war on terror after 9/11, and this has been totally inefficient and degrading towards so many men. And I know this has only been one example of the extreme discrimination that the Muslim community faces in the US.
It's worth noting that you know, Islamic or Islam majority countries such as Pakistan and Indonesia, they have had, for example, like women prime ministers, while of non-Muslim countries such as the one we are here today, like the United States, has not had any female prime minister. So I do think that it is worth noting that it it might not necessarily define like the religion might not necessarily define the perspective on women, and it could be perhaps used as a tool to subjugate women rather than a creed on itself.
Okay, so after seeing some of my friends' answers, I started to wonder, why don't we know more? Why, as Christians, or perhaps any other religions, why don't we care to know more about Islam? And so this led me to my thesis statement, which is that the lack of knowledge creates a lack of curiosity. And then this lack of curiosity has led, in this case, to discrimination for Islam women, and it is all based on stereotypes. So I read an article that says that curiosity is less about what you don't know, but it's actually about what you do. In this case, what you actually think you do know. So since we know all of these stereotypes, we see social media, we can search online, we think we know Islam, we think we understand the treatment of women in this religion, when it's actually all based on stereotypes. Therefore, we don't have any curiosity of doing any further research, of learning more about it, because we think we understand it, we think we already know this information. To disprove some of these stereotypes, I would like to talk about interpretation, which is a topic that we've talked a lot in class. I think we've all come to the agreement that the Quran has been misinterpreted multiple times throughout generations, and this has probably led to some of these stereotypes. But if we have learned something as well, is that women are not seen in any kind as a minority in the Muslim society. With this, yes, I want to say that as any other religion institutions, this one is dominated by men. But this is something that is not unique for the Islam religion, and it does not mean that women are seen as any kind of less.